This video is really hard for me to make because it's about change. It's about a really big change in our lives, and I'm gonna finally be able to talk to you about it today. So this goes out to anyone that's going through a big transition in your life, and particularly the moms and the dads that find themselves in a position where they can't homeschool anymore. This one's for you. So it took me a few weeks to be able to make this. I'm actually making it on the very first day of school, where we're not homeschooling. The kids are now in public school. And it's taken me all this time to pray on this decision, to write about it, to process it, and there's still a part of me that's mourning, homeschooling my kids. So because this was such a very big part of me and our family, and I really feel like it's such a blessing to be able to homeschool your kids if you can, that I am still going to take everything that I've learned in these last 2 years that I have been able to homeschool and try to infuse our life with these principles, with this philosophy of education that I've learned and that I have fallen in love with and have become like a way of life around here. Alright, so sometimes life throws us curveballs. It kind of makes you feel like a setback, but I really hope and believe that there's a reason for this and that it's going to be really, really great for my family. And so I've decided to use the excitement that my kids have for this new, big, beautiful change in their life of going to public school, and they're so excited for it. I'm going to use it as fuel to come up with a plan of how to translate why I loved homeschool and why I chose to homeschool in the first place into a plan to how to translate that into an after schooling and a before schooling, and why we bedtime routine, and why we're gonna keep on doing poetry tea time, and why we're going to do nature study still, and why we're going to do all of these things that, oh my gosh, were such a treat last year and the year before. And I am going to use that and continue. So I have come up with a plan. If you've been here for a little bit, you've seen that I like to plan. And I already had this whole next year planned for my kids, all 3 of them. But life changes. So I'm going to tell you my new plan. And it's not perfect because I don't know what curveballs lay ahead of us, but it's a jumping off point, and I feel really, really good. Let's get into it. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm thinking and take you along for the ride. Our morning basket will now be done during breakfast time. It's an altered morning basket, but the fundamental feel and look of it will be there. This is what we're covering: our morning prayers and any new prayers we're learning for the year, going over catechism memory statements and Bible verses, Bible stories, poetry and nursery rhyme readings, musical note drills, skip counting, family affirmation, and we'll also be including our artist study rotation here. In the morning drive to school, I kind of think that the car ride is the perfect time to sing together. So I plan to follow the folk song, hymn, and composer rotation every morning this way. I'm going to be looping it because I'm not sure how long, because our school is quite close to us, so maybe just one a day. So in the morning drive, we'll enjoy hymns one day, folk songs on another day, and then perhaps memory work like history timeline song, president song, states, capital songs, that kind of memory work together as well. Afternoon free reading. So after school, we'll all need a little bit of a break, some peace and a little bit of relaxation. So I believe that this will be the best time to do a read aloud or have my daughter read on her own. And then I'll read something of our free reads to my kindergartner and my preschooler. All right, now at bedtime. This is where I think the meat of our readings will be, and maybe our narrations. I'm gonna go out on a limb and see if it's possible to try and get 2 to 3 of the readings that we have in an hour before bedtime. I know, I think I'm a little crazy too, but I think that this crazy idea might just work. Fingers crossed. You see, my kids take such a long time to settle down, and they have so much energy at night. It usually takes us an exorbitant amount of time to finally get everyone asleep. So this is my answer. Let's turn that time into a fruitful time. And then that way they can go to sleep questioning what we read, picturing the images the words make, and digesting the emotions that may arise from them. Okay. Narrations. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get back to you guys on how this works, but my idealistic side thinks that I can get one at night with one of the readings at night, and then have them brew overnight on another one, because usually it's 2 or 3 readings a day. So if I get one narration at night, then maybe I can get one in the day. So my idealistic side is thinking, they're gonna be ruminating and thinking about these things in their dreams, and then they're gonna wake up and I'll be able to ask them like, hey, do you remember that story? Tell me a little bit about it. What do you remember? How did it make you feel? What were the things that stuck out? Probing questions that maybe will give me an excellent narration the next day because they have been able to think about it all night long in their dreams. My practical side is telling me that I'm a dreamer myself, but I don't know. This to me feels like something worth trying, and I will get back to you on how that works. My backup plan is, maybe do one of the actual readings after school or after maybe a free read or some downtime, do one of the readings and then ask for the narration right after that, and then do the second one at bedtime with the narration right after that. I don't know. This is a work in progress. They're all just bubbling ideas in my mind. We'll see how it goes. I mean, if you have any guidance here, if you've done this before, let me know how it went. And maybe it'll guide me on this new thing that we're doing. Oh my goodness, my nature Fridays. I cannot carve out time on Fridays. I think that that's asking too much, but I do have Saturday mornings. So I have decided to dub Saturdays as our nature study Saturdays. My idea is to have the nature study stuff out on the table right at breakfast time. They can page through our resources while they eat and maybe have a few interesting informational videos queued up and ready to go. And then right after, we can go for our nature walk or go for like some sort of field trip or the zoo or, some similar nature-infused outing. Realistically, I know that field trips won't happen every Saturday, but I do know that my kiddos will want to do something. So my priority is going to try to be nature-focused in some way before we start our days. That won't happen all the time, but perhaps I can get this to happen most Saturdays. Gabby, put your face in there again.
He don't want my sandwich.
He doesn't want your sandwich. He wants a Gabby sandwich.
He wants to eat you. No, I want Skylar swimming.
He wants a Kiara sandwich. Go Kiara, say hi to him again. Poetry and Culture Tea Time with On Mission. There's almost always one afternoon that has no extracurriculars. No catechism classes, no gymnastics, no play dates. Hopefully it'll work out this way, and if not, I'll schedule this in at least twice a month. And by this, I mean picking up the kids from school and hopefully already having their afternoon snack tie in some way to our theme or topic for Poetry Tea Time and World Culture Learning Time. Gosh, so many titles. And I think that the cool thing will be to get home and have this already ready for them. It'll be really special. Maybe one of those days will be like the fancy sort of afternoon like I showed in my Poetry Tea Time video. I'll cue that up I'll cue that up above. That way you can check that out. And then other times I'll just make it very simple and enjoyable for the kids. So today was the first day that my kids went to school, which is why I'm able to do this video today. I haven't been able to do it before now because I was still very sad about this all, and I'm in a much better place about it all. I think that I am putting a lot of what I've learned from these past couple of years that I have been able to homeschool into some sort of an action plan to take off from, and that gives me a lot of peace. It gives me a lot of peace to know that I'll be able to take what I've learned and infuse it into our home, into something that it's not just like kind of forgotten and then we just go into these like normal lives. I think that I expect more from our kids. I expect more from me, and I want to be able to still shepherd their hearts and their minds. I want to be really intentional about how I use this experience that we've gone through in homeschooling and how it can fit into, our new routine now. And I think that by being really intentional with how I curate our time together, kind of like steering it in different ways can be helpful. I don't know if that's being too lofty. Let's see. But I want to be able to engage our kids, fill their cups, and shepherd them in a way that their hearts are open, their minds are activated, that they are not forgotten, and that we can still personalize their education to some extent. I think it could work. I think that it would be much better to have an intentional, parent than someone that just says, okay, well now you're in public school. We'll figure it out. I want to be a little bit more proactive, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Just a planner in me is trying to make some sense of this change, I suppose. Have you been through this kind of change? Let me know. I mean, if you have any guidance for me, I would really appreciate it. I'm going to try and let you know how that goes and give you sneak peeks. I know that in the past, if you've been here, you've seen that I give you little sneak peeks as to like how they'll do narrations and how our days go. Now I'm gonna give you the same, but it's gonna have a little bit of a different veneer to it, and I think that it could be really beneficial for a lot of families that would love to be able to homeschool and they find themselves in a position where they can't, like me. So I also was thinking, because I was researching, and there aren't very many videos out there that talk about how to go about this transition going from homeschooling back into public school. There are a lot of videos on doing the reverse, how to go from public to homeschooling. So I had to figure things out, and if that would be beneficial to you, let me know and I'll definitely get to work. I'd like to be a blessing to others in trying to help figure out how to do that transition, like legally. What are the papers that you need to get? What do you need? How, like what are the things that you need to turn in? What does that look like all around? If that is something that would be beneficial to you, let me know and I'll get to work. Another thing that I already am doing is I've already set up my memory statement board for GNC, the General Classical Preschool, and I was thinking about saying, showing you how I am implementing that as part of this whole transition. So if you're interested in that, let me know down below and I'll see which one I do first based off of that. So friends, I hope that this is an incredible school year for everyone. No matter what kind of schooling you find yourself in this year, it's going to be great because we're going to be intentional. We're going to go into it with a lot of love and a lot of courage. So until next time, friends, bye.